Falcon 9.
And there we have the Dragon in range of the space station.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Hawthorne, headquarters of Space Exploration Technologies. We're here to unveil Dragon version 2. Dragon version 1 is right above your heads. In fact, this is the first Dragon spacecraft that came back from orbit. And you can see the scorch marks on the heat shield, the thrusters that are fired. It's a real spacecraft. And I'll tell you a little. I'll start off by telling you a little bit about the Dragon version 1 before showing you Dragon version 2. And when we first created Dragon version 1, we didn't really know how to create a spacecraft. We'd never designed a spacecraft before. So while there are a lot of interesting technologies in version 1, it does have a relatively conventional landing approach. So it throws out parachutes to land in the water off the coast of California after it comes back from the space station. And it does have a life support system, but not one that can last for a long time or carry a lot of people. And so it's a great spacecraft, and it was a great proof of concept. It showed us what it took to bring something back from orbit, which is a very difficult thing to do. Usually when something comes in from orbital velocity, it burns up in a big fireball. So, but going from Dragon version 1, we wanted to take a big step in technology, really create something that was a step change in spacecraft technology. And some important characteristics of that are the ability to land anywhere on land propulsively. So that's one of the things that Dragon version 2 will be able to do. So you'll be able to land anywhere on Earth with the accuracy of a helicopter, which is I think something that a modern spaceship should be able to do. And it'll be capable of carrying 7 astronauts for several days. It has an improved version of our Pika heat shield, and it's all around, I think, really a big leap forward in technology. It really takes things to the next level. So with that, let's see the Dragon version 1. We're going to do the countdown here. All right. Oh, Dragon version 2.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So we have an animation that shows you how Dragon version 2 will work. So let's roll that animation. So that is how a 21st century spaceship should land. A few other things. So I'm going to talk about some of the hardware in Dragon, some of the technologies. We're going to roll those out. And so a few things I should mention that you saw in the animation, but we don't have time to show you today, are there's the docking mechanism. So the Dragon version 2 is capable of autonomously docking, either autonomously or under pilot docking with the space station, or with the International Space Station, potentially other things, and without needing the station arm. So the current version 1 makes use of the Canadarm that's on the space station. Dragon version 2 is capable of docking autonomously without the use of the arm. So that's a significant upgrade as well. And although it wasn't shown in the video, Dragon version 2 still retains the parachutes of Dragon version 1, so that what it'll do is when it reaches a particular altitude, just before landing, a few miles before landing, it will test the engines, verify that if all the engines are working, it will then proceed to a propulsive landing. If there's any anomaly detected with the engines or the propulsion system, it will then deploy the parachutes to ensure a safe landing, even in the event that the propulsion system is not working. And even after starting the propulsion system, it can afford to lose up to 2 engines and still land safely. And then after the engines are started, it deploys the landing legs for a soft landing. And so the reason that this is really important, apart from the convenience of the landing location, is that it enables rapid reusability of the spacecraft. So you can just reload propellant and fly again. This is extremely important for revolutionizing access to space, because as long as we continue to throw away rockets and spacecraft, we will never have true access to space. It'll always be incredibly expensive. You can imagine a scenario where in aircraft, if aircraft were thrown away with each flight, that nobody would be able to fly, or very few, maybe a small number of government customers, and the same is true of rockets and spacecraft. So that's really why it's so important to be able to land propulsively, land on land, and be able to then reload propellant and take off again. So I'll look at point out some of the technologies here. This is a composite overwrapped titanium sphere, and this contains the ultra-high pressure helium that pressurizes the propulsion tanks that feed the Super Draco engine. This is the Draco engine, which is a maneuvering thruster, and this is essentially the same as the one that's, or very similar to the one that's on Dragon version 1. And on Dragon version 1, there are 18 of these thrusters for maneuvering in space, as well as controlling the reentry, the trajectory during reentry. So we have a bunch of these on version 2 as well. From a propulsion standpoint, the biggest single change for Dragon version 2 is the addition of the Super Draco engines. So this is really a super-powered version of the Draco engine, whereas the Draco engine produces about 100 pounds of thrust. Each of these engines produce 16,000 pounds of thrust. So hence the super. And they're in pairs, so that if one malfunctions, its pair can take over and increase thrust to compensate for the one that's not firing. And each one is in a protective shell, so if anything goes wrong, it's contained within that protective nacelle. This is also will be the first fully printed engine. So this is it's printed Inconel, which is a special high-strength alloy, and it'll be, like I said, the first time that a printed rocket engine sees flight. And then this is the propellant tank. This a whole series of these spheres are around the perimeter of Dragon V2, and these are also carbon overwrapped titanium, and they feed the Super Draco engines, which are operating. The Super Draco engines are operating at a chamber pressure of about 1,000 psi, and fed from these series of propellant tanks around the perimeter. And then we also have version 3 of the Pika heat shield. So the base heat shield is the third version of our heat shield technology. The first version obviously flew on that version 1 spacecraft up there, and we're now about to fly sort of version 2 and version 3. And with each one, we're able to make the reusability of the heat shield better. So it ablates less as it enters, and so we're able to get more flights. So that's Dragon version 2. Although it'd be nice to go inside, but for that we will need a comically fast set of stairs. So have a settle. So I'm sitting here in the pilot seat. And pull that down. So we've aimed for something with the Dragon version 2 for the interfaces and for the overall aesthetic of something that's very clean, very simple, and so as the pilot, you're able to interact with the screens overhead, control the spacecraft, and then we've got all of the critical functions that are needed in an emergency situation as manual buttons. So that's what you see in this area here. Yep. Yeah. So. All right, that's all a lot easier in 0G, by the way. So there you have it, Dragon version 2, capable of carrying up to 7 astronauts, propulsively landing almost anywhere in the world, and something that's designed, as I said, to be fully reusable. So you can fly this multiple times, allowing for potential dramatic reduction in the cost of access to space. Thank you.